I started out 2019 back in my parents' house after some less than optimal circumstances forced me to move out of my house in Lancaster City that I had lived in for most of the year prior. I had moved forward, out from under a roof that wasn't solely mine and under one that I was paying for. One I'd earned, not one that I'd been given. Now, my degree of success in doing so while also trying to maintain all of the other things that you apparently have to do when you live on your own is debatable, if I'm being generous. But to me, that didn't, and it still doesn't matter. It felt right that I was struggling, as masochistic as that may sound. Not necessarily because I enjoyed the struggling, but because with each passing day, my struggles became less, for no reason other than the fact that I was taking the steps to make my life better. I really felt like I was on the right path. But then I had to take a step back and move back under my parents' roof. That halted me mentally for a bit, and I also feel like it halted my growth as a person, at least in the areas that I was looking to make the most headway. That was my first big hurdle of 2019, starting out the year in a place that I didn't really want to be. In a place where I found it harder to focus on self-development, as counterintuitive as that may sound. So I needed a way to look inward on a regular basis to make sure I was staying on the right track. Enter the Year Vlog. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I've always been intrigued by hair that grows out of a person's face. So after I shaved at the end of November of 2018, I had the plan to grow up my beard for an entire year so I could finally see what I looked like with a real beard. Stop looking at the monitor, look at the lens. That idea of introspection has really been a focus of my life for the past 2 to 3 years. I've been able to use YouTube as a creative outlet, and without being completely certain as far as what I want to do with my career, it only felt natural to spend that time trying to better myself as a person. The only area where I felt that I could actually make some headway. Focusing on doing the right thing, helping out people where I can, and just trying to be the best person that I can be. So once a week with the Year Vlog, not only do I get to look and analyze my beard, look at its growth, its density, its coverage, but I also get to look inward on myself to analyze my growth, not so much my density or my coverage, but you get the idea. All the while, I remained stagnant at my job at Red Robin. Red Robin was one of the best things that could have happened to me at one of the lower points in my life. I was barely getting by, just barely covering my bills and eating maybe a few meals a week. Then, my friend Jose and Red Robin swooped in and allowed me to have a job where I could finally work as much as I wanted to. I didn't know anybody there, I'd never worked in a kitchen, but I didn't care. I was ready to go in and to be the best at that job that I could possibly be. That didn't really last for too long. By the time I made it to January of 2019, that working spirit had been beaten out of me. I can't necessarily credit this to any specific reason, but I could give a few examples. Lazy coworkers, incompetent management staff, just general restaurant business dealings. I had been beaten down, as well as some of my closest coworkers, but back to the theme of unintentional masochism, you learn to enjoy the bad times with your coworkers. I mean, hell, referring to people as Sergio or Crystal or anybody that I worked with over at the Dirty Bird as just coworkers falls short to the level of importance that they play in my life. Nonetheless, I felt trapped in the shitty situation that I was in. I didn't know where else I could work. I had no idea what to do with the rest of my life. 21 years old, and I already felt like I was at the end of my journey. That is until Liam swooped in and offered me the perfect out to my situation. Natick, Massachusetts, August 2019. Liam needed to relocate for his new job, and I wanted to see something new. Did I have any idea where Natick was? Not a clue. The only thing I knew about it was that it was outside of Lancaster, and that's really the only thing that I was looking for. So I blindly agreed in the middle of January to move up to Massachusetts with Liam. At that point, the only thing that I had felt about the move was excitement. I hadn't really had the proper time to put the thought in to realize just how scary of something that was, but that was 7 months away. I'll worry about it then. From a young age, I have always maintained a fascination for facial follicles. There's something beautiful about a well put together beard. It shows discipline, commitment, attention to detail, a lot of principles that I'm trying to instill in my everyday life. That, and I just think that the beard is a good look, at least on other people. I've always viewed my beard as inadequate. It has never quite lived up to my expectations. Now, a wise man once told me expectations are disappointments in the making. So as the months have progressed, I've dropped my expectations as far as where should my beard be at any given time. Should it be longer? Should it be growing in this way? Should it be growing in that way? No. It should be growing in this way because this is the way my beard grows in. Comparing myself to other people will only lead me to wishing that I had what they had instead of appreciating what it is that I have growing on my own face. I'll start from the top of my beard and work my way down. Now, everyone always asks me why my sideburns look the way they do. I touched on it in week 28 of the year vlog, but I'll bring it up again here. Basically, long story short, I got my hair cut at it's like middle end of July of 2019. I went out with my dad to run some errands. We went and we got our hair cut. And at the end of the haircut, when I had it done, obviously it didn't look like this. It looked a little bit better. The man asked me, he said, "Hey, what do you want to do with your beard?" I said, I don't want to do anything with my beard. I'm kind of just letting it grow out right now. So he didn't touch it. But when he didn't touch it, he left these little guys, these little tails right here. I was conflicted as to whether or not I should shave it off, but when I got the haircut and said to leave my beard alone, this is the way the guy left it. So it only felt natural that this would be how my beard spends the rest of its life. From there, we moved to the cheeks, where we see coverage that I would say is respectable. It's a good foundation. Those patches that I complained about 3 weeks into my beard growing journey are just gone. It's covered. The beard is a whole shape now, as opposed to feeling like 3 separate patches of hair, 1, 2, and 3. It's a very loose shape. I could definitely use a trim to probably define it more, but this is the year vlog, damn it. No exceptions. As far as the front of my face, the mustache, chin, goatee area, that was and still is the area that maintains the most growth and the most density. That is, if you look at it from the front. If you're looking from the underside, you can see the growth is very sparse and that there are a few areas that started growing in before the other ones. So you have like a patch here and a patch here, wherever they are exactly, that are a little bit longer than the rest of the hair. And again, that kind of adds to the hectic nature of my year, where getting a trim would definitely benefit. It would definitely help me reduce the homelessness factor of my beard. Last but certainly not least, we get to the mustache. Wild, unruly, free-spirited. There are so many different ways I could describe the beast that my mustache has become. We've got handlebars, worthy of being slapped onto a chopper, and I don't really remember what my upper lip looks like. That, or what it's like to eat food without having to wrestle with mustache hairs in my mouth. Now, I've loved this project, and I've loved what my beard has become, but I absolutely cannot wait to get a trim so I can start to live more of a typical beard life. This year has really been one to test my patience. Being surrounded by a culture that is focused on the grind and working as hard as you can for as long as you can has really created an interesting conflict in my head. On one hand, I'm in a situation in my life where basically, what I'm trying to say is that being surrounded by grind culture is good for promoting a positive and consistent work ethic, but it also leads to a degradation in mental health, mainly with symptoms like depression, anxiety, lack of motivation. I could go on telling you how I've been feeling for the last year plus, but you get the idea. Working hard is great, but working hard without a reason for doing so wears on you, especially when that work that you're doing isn't something that you're passionate about. Working for 2,100 plus hours over the course of the year just because I need to work to live is exhausting. So as I've been figuring out how the real world works, it's been important to take a step back and breathe. Outside air. I know you're lazy, but trust me, it's good for you. Taking time to reassess where I'm at and where I'm going, where are my priorities, where are my motivations, and making sure that what I'm doing is authentically me. Time to zoom the lens out a bit further. Okay, it's a funny joke, but I'm gonna leave it at 20 and talk meta to myself here for a bit. I spent a lot of time this year not pushing myself to drive towards what I want. I've not been focused on getting myself to where I want to be financially or career-wise. I've been more focused on making sure that I am fulfilled when it comes to my own life. Now that isn't a bad thing, but I think that too many years spent with my focus on that will not necessarily lead to overall long-term success. For example, if I'm in the same situation that I am now, 20 years from now, I will have failed. I'd rather move past being just over broke and start being constantly affirmed, realistically. That leads me to the situation that I'm in now. I spent the last while looking back at my year, addressing the problems that I've observed with myself, but I don't really have solutions for these problems. I can assess the fact that finding motivation to pursue the things that I love has been difficult for the last year, but at the time of me writing this, I don't have any magical solutions to suddenly become more motivated. If there's any one thing I can take from 2019 to learn for the rest of my life, it's simply the fact that my life is mine. I cannot wait for someone else to take the steps to make my life better. I cannot wait for someone else to follow my dreams for me. It's about time I put forth the energy to make my life better outside of my head. Thanks for watching.